413 WMAZ Morning starts now.
Another day with another heat advisory for the area. I'll talk about just how hot we'll be and a little bit of relief on the way by next week. All of that is coming up.
And Bibb deputies now searching for a gunman following a shooting in East Macon. The latest on the investigation.
And project delays coming with a hefty price tag when Georgia Power expects construction at Plant Vogtle to finish and how much that project is costing the company.
Back to school does not have to break the bank. I'm going to tell you about a bunch of back to school drive-bys and giveaways taking place this weekend in just a few minutes.
Well, good morning. Happy Friday. It is a beautiful start to the day in Dublin. It is 6:31, July 30th. I'm Caitlin Heck.
And I'm Wanya Reese. Not only a beautiful day out there in the DUV, but students in Chris and Wilcox and Wilkinson, they're waking up with us. They're probably getting on the school bus going back to school, but it's hot.
It is. It's going to be a hot morning at the bus stop.
That's right, yeah, and a muggy morning as well, which always makes it just a little bit worse. But don't let that stop you from your excitement for the first day of school. I know that always is exciting. Happy Friday, everyone. We've made it to the end of the work week, and for some of you, it's the start of the school week. So happy first day of school to all of you in Crisp, Wilcox, and Wilkinson counties. Now, all of the area is under a heat advisory for the day today. That will start at 11 o'clock this morning and go until 8 o'clock tonight. Heat index values 108 plus will be possible. This is about as cool as we're going to get today. 77 right now in the city of Dublin. A muggy morning, but a beautiful one. A really nice sunrise there in the city of Dublin to get the day going. 76 in Macon and in Warner Robins. We're all at 77 in our easternmost counties in Sandersville and Wrightsville and in Vidalia this morning. 76 down in Crisp County and Cordele and 73 in Forsyth. I do think we'll see triple-digit heat today, everyone, and we will have a small rain chance. So I'll take you through that, talk about a very hot weekend on the way, and when we could see some relief. All those details are in a few minutes.
Thank you, Courtney. New from overnight, a man is in the hospital this morning after a shooting at an East Macon home. Deputies say it happened just after 11:30 last night at a home on the corner of Fort Hill Street and William Street.
Witnesses say someone shot 23-year-old Darius Grayer in front of his home. A reporter saw nearly 24 evidence markers in the street for shell casings. Investigators blocked Fort Hill Street for most of the night as they gathered evidence. Grayer is listed in critical condition, and deputies are still looking for the shooter.
3 men are recovering in the hospital after someone shot them yesterday afternoon in East Macon, less than a mile from the other shooting. Deputies say they got calls about someone dropping the men off at the emergency room. Someone shot 24-year-olds Kyler Thompson and Corey Reeves and 44-year-old Carlos Jackson at a car detail shop on Main Street. Investigators say they are still trying to figure out what led up to the shooting.
And Bibb County leaders want to continue hearing from you on ways to cut down on violence. They're hosting 3 more Macon Violence Prevention or MVP forums next week. On Monday, Commissioner Virgil Watkins will head to Niche Bar and Lounge at 385 2nd Street in downtown Macon. The county says that focus will be on nightlife safety. They're inviting club owners and promoters. It starts at 5. Tuesday's forum is at 6:30 at Memorial Park Rec Center. The third is Wednesday at 6:30 at the Bloomfield Rec Center. You can also get together tomorrow morning for a Stop the Violence parade. If you're interested, you can meet at 8 a.m. in the parking lot behind the S&S cafeteria on Bloomfield Road. The parade starts at 9 and ends at Covenant Life Cathedral on Bloomfield.
Right now, state legislators are considering ideas from you as they prepare to redraw the state's political district lines. It's a process that happens every 10 years after the census. The outcome determines lines for Georgia's House, Senate, and congressional districts. About 30 people showed up to the public hearing last night in Macon, representing Central Georgia, South Georgia, and the Metro Atlanta area. Most wanted transparency with the redistricting. They want everyone to see the new lines drawn before state leaders officially vote on them. David Hortons, a 13-year-old, says public forums like these are essential to fair elections moving forward.
These legislators should be making these maps based on the input that they learned from hearings just like this and the ones past. So, because they are, like one man said, they are working for us. So without our input, they shouldn't be doing anything.
The next public hearing is a virtual one that is today at 5 p.m.
Well, in news from across the state, more delays at Georgia's nuclear plant Vogtle. The parent company of Georgia Power says its costs have increased by nearly $1 billion. Right now, project managers believe construction outside of Augusta will take another 3 to 4 months, pushing the projected start of Unit 3 into the second quarter of next year. Unit 4 is now projected to start in 2023. Both have been under construction since 2013. The costly project has caused quite the controversy over the years. Regulators insist the plant is the best source of clean and reliable energy for Georgia. Opponents have long said there are cheaper, better options.
A judge who calls Macon home now sits on Georgia's highest court. Governor Brian Kemp swore in Judge Verda Colvin in Atlanta yesterday. She went viral back in 2016 for her courtroom warning to teens during the Bibb County Sheriff's Office Consider the Consequences program. In her speech, Judge Colvin said she was Atlanta raised, but Macon made. I like that. Governor Kemp called her a trusted leader. You can watch the full ceremony right now. That's at our website at 13wmaz.com.
Well, the clock is ticking on pandemic protections for Central Georgia renters. That's one of the COVID-19 headlines we're following for you.
President Joe Biden is letting the CDC's ban on evictions expire tomorrow after being extended several times since September of last year. The ban prevented landlords from kicking tenants out. The end comes as advocates and lawmakers call for extensions as coronavirus cases rise. In June, the CDC says it would be the last extension for the moratorium. Roughly 3.6 million people in the U.S. say they face eviction in the next 2 months. An estimated 600 evictions are now pending for people here in Bibb County.
Well, measures, not mandates. That's what the Biden administration is calling their new rules for the unvaccinated. Federal workers must now either get the shot or face weekly testing, masking, and social distancing rules. The president also said he is directing the Defense Department to look into how and when to add the COVID-19 vaccine to its list of required vaccines for members of the military. President Biden is also encouraging cash for COVID-19 vaccines. The president is asking states and cities to use federal rescue funds to give out $100 payments. Those would be incentives for people to get the vaccine. There would not be any retroactive payments if you're already vaccinated.
Along with its updated mask guidance, the CDC is also shifting what you should do if you're exposed to COVID. The agency now advising vaccinated people to get tested 3 to 5 days after an exposure, even if you don't have any symptoms. Before, the CDC said you didn't need to get tested if you were vaccinated unless you started showing symptoms.
Also, major companies are changing plans after that updated CDC guidance. Right now, all shoppers and employees must wear masks in more than half of U.S. Apple stores, even vaccinated people. Google says its employees must be vaccinated if they return to the office, and Twitter is closing its offices in New York and San Francisco. It's also pausing all future reopening plans.
The guidance affects how companies do things here in Central Georgia as well. Robins Air Force Base says employees are now mandated to wear masks regardless of vaccination status. The change comes from the Department of Defense and applies to all service members, federal employees, on-site contractor employees, and visitors. And Dublin City Schools now becomes the third district requiring face masks. The district says outdoor venues will be at full capacity for the first 9 weeks, and masks will be required in order to attend. Leaders will revisit the mask policy every 9 weeks. Well, the time is now 6:38 a.m. and I mean, we have a few school districts that are going back today, and I mean, it's just so hard to believe. We're going to have literally thousands of students going back to the classroom next week.
I know. So excited for them, though.
Yeah,
ready to kick off a new year.
Summer went by really fast, I feel like,
flew by.
Right? Yeah, and I don't have kids. I'm not a student. So I feel like when you are a student or a teacher, summer goes by even faster. But I know the first day is always super exciting. So happy first day of school to all of you heading back in crisp Wilcox and Wilkinson County today. I'm sure a lot of you probably about to walk out the door to the bus stop, and know it is a very humid start. Be sure you're packing plenty of water. Grab that water bottle as you head out the door. By recess hour, it is going to be in the low 90s, feeling more like the triple digits. And for that ride home today, more than likely going to be near triple digits. It will feel like the triple digits, and maybe a stray shower or two, but not primarily worried about the rain today. It's more so that heat. It's going to be very dangerously hot today. Just something to keep in mind. Next batch of students, as Wanye was saying, to head back to schools next Monday, August 2nd. That's Taylor, Crawford, Monroe, Macon, Bibb, Peach, Twiggs, and Hancock County. And it's going to be a little bit of a different story for you for the first day of school, and we're going to cover it all in just a few minutes here. Heat advisory will go into effect starting at 11 o'clock for all of the area today and go until 8 o'clock tonight. That means heat index values greater than 108 degrees will be possible as we head into the weekend. Excessive heat watch already in effect for tomorrow. Heat index values greater than 110 will be possible for Saturday. So through the weekend, the heat is going to continue to be the big story. However, we are going to start to gradually increase our rain chances as we head into Sunday. We're not alone, though, in this excessive heat. There are heat advisories extending over 1,000 miles from the plains all the way to the Atlantic coast. Orange, of course, is those heat advisories, and then the excessive heat watches in pink. So we're not the only ones boiling. It looks like most of the country is. Of course, if you head all the way out to the west, they've been dealing with this excessive heat and the wildfires. So we'll be thankful that some relief is on the way. We'll take you through it. For today, again, by 11 o'clock, it's already going to feel more like the triple digits. This is, I believe, recess hour for a lot of students. So just something to keep in mind. As you're heading home from work today, I do think we're going to top out at 100 degrees today in Macon. Upper 90s and triple digits, but it will feel like the triple digits for all of us today. You are going to need to crank up that AC for the ride home. Again, maybe a stray shower or two for the day today. Primarily, we're going to be concerned about the heat. We can't stress enough to stay hydrated. And if you work outdoors, be sure that you're taking time to take those breaks. As we head into Saturday morning, another warm and muggy start, mid-70s for tomorrow. Notice those heat index values, the number in yellow there, are going to soar as we head into the afternoon. I do think with wind out of the northwest tomorrow, a slightly better rain chance. I have us topping out at 99 degrees for your Saturday, and same for Sunday, but it wouldn't be out of reach to head into the triple digits. And let's be honest, 99 and 100 really can't tell much of a difference, especially when it feels like the triple digits. Sunday looks like we're going to have a slightly greater rain chance, primarily for the late afternoon into the evening. Today, it's simply a trough that's bringing us all the rain. That's an area of lower pressure. It's just a little extra lift to help with the rain and storm activity. Here comes a front on Sunday that will lead to a better rain chance Monday. So for the morning, for all you kids heading back to school, maybe a few showers, but it does look like it's going to be a rainy ride home on Monday. Your 7-day forecast looks like this: big time heat through the weekend, so be sure you're staying cool and hydrated. Then we'll increase our rain chances next week, and temperatures will stay in the mid to upper 80s through Wednesday.